I'm very excited to have with me Andrew Denenberg, a principal at Strategic Wealth Partners, as we talk about structured notes and his perspectives on the current market environment. Maybe you could just provide a little bit about SWP and your role at the firm.
Sure, happy to, and thanks for having me. Strategic Wealth Partners is a registered investment advisor. We opened our doors back in 2008, and I've been with the firm basically since the beginning. Over the last 7 or so years, I've been a lead advisor, and I'm happy to be here talking with you today.
What are some of the ways that you guys set up portfolios from an investments perspective?
So every client situation is unique, and when we're looking at putting together a portfolio, we also have to consider, maybe the best investment portfolio isn't the one that's most ideal from an X's and O's standpoint, so to speak, but more one that a client can comfortably stick with when times get tough.
What are some of the investments or the strategies that right now you can look at, your clients can look at and say, I'm really glad that we have these in our portfolios?
Sure. So, the most obvious one is traditional fixed income, treasuries, high quality corporate and municipal bonds, even though both of those took a little bit of a step back in March for kind of strange reasons. But also directly related to, our firm's relationship, the structured note portfolio that we've built has been a really big help in terms of keeping clients on track. Nothing's guaranteed, obviously, but knowing what to expect given certain market conditions allows clients to look at their portfolio of notes and say, well, gee, even though some of these might be being marked down on paper right now, I realize that there's time for the market to recover. So as long as I hold them to maturity, and the market somewhat recovers by then, I know what I'm going to get.
How do you first introduce structured notes to a client if they've never heard of them before?
We speak to our clients about the structured notes as kind of a hybrid between stocks and bonds. And we talk to them about, sort of the evolution of our thinking within alternatives and how we're looking for something that has a downside protection feature to it, but that can still generate a reasonable rate of return above what you would expect from bonds. So when we phrase it that way and explain how the notes work and what the risks are, we were surprised to see that our clients really gravitated toward them. And it's not uncommon for us to meet with a client even today, a few years later, and their first question or one of their first questions during our review is, how are those notes doing? Or, how are those special investments doing? I will say that I make it a very, very special point to always bring up with existing clients, prospective clients, really anybody who might be investing in these, the risks or the things that I feel like they should know that I would want to know before investing in them. So one is there is credit risk. We take the approach where and you obviously help us with this, but we work with banks that have very high credit ratings. And even though we might be sacrificing some upside by using only the highest rated banks, our clients prefer that. In our particular case, our notes are based on the price return of the S&P 500. So we always say that's the price return. You don't get the dividend component to it. Most of the time that doesn't play a tremendous factor, but it's something that I always make sure to educate clients about.